I don't know, Sophia. Because, you know, we're not going to name leak. But let's call her Sophia. And, Sophia wanted to come up to me and be like, oh, I heard you got a man. And I said, yeah, what about it? She said, I'm going to find out his PlayStation account and I'm going to hit him up. And I said, girl, good luck. And she said, I don't need good luck, because I already know I'm going to take it from you. And I said, girl, please, I'd like to see you try. And then I told her, bless you! I told her, we're going to have to throw hands after saying that. After you said that, we're going to have to throw hands now. And she said, okay, bet, come on, let's go. And I said, oh, you want to go? Right here? And she said, no, wait for lunch. And in the cafeteria, she was sitting next to her friend. I came up to her table and I said, you still want to go? She said, yeah, I do. Let me get my lunch first. Saw her in the lunch line and I said, alright, you want to go now? She said, yeah, let me eat my food first. And I said, alright. I sat at the table right across from her table. So I could see when she finished her food. A few minutes later, of course, her big self's already finished her freaking food. Freaking fatty. And then I came up to her and I said, you still want to fight? She said, yeah, hold on. And I said, girl, you're stalling, you're scary. She said, ain't nobody scary of you, I've just had to do something first. And I said, what do you have to do that's so important? She said, just hold on. So I did, and I said, heads up. I pulled her hair and she fell out her chair. And of course I started like punching her and stuff. And she said, oh, come on, let's go. And then she got up. She tried pulling my hair, but she was holding on to my hair, my ponytail. And I was holding on to her braid, her fat braid in the back. And I pulled her down, she fell, I got on top of her, and I was doing the, what is it called, ground and pound. That sounds wrong, but like, it's just called being punched in the face. And I was dragging her around until the police came. Like, they didn't call the police physically, but like, they called the police that work in our school down to the cafeteria. Like, they called them on the walkie-talkie and said, there's a huge fight, and everybody started surrounding, and everyone was recording. And she got dragged. She ran upstairs to the bathroom. Yeah, because our lunch is downstairs. And that's where our lunchroom is. So I ran after her, and I was dragging her down the stairs. And then she got up somehow, and she started running back up the stairs. And she managed to get to the bathroom. Everybody was following, of course. Like, all the girls were following. And she was in the bathroom. I was standing outside of the stall. Like, I was standing outside of the stall that she was in. And then, like, she came out the bathroom. I let her wash her hands. And then tell me why. I came after her, and I said, like, before she got out the bathroom, like, before she, like, left the whole bathroom, anywho, before she left the whole bathroom, I pulled her backwards by her collar, like her shirt collar thing. Is that who I think it is? are they? I can't freaking see. But I pulled her by her shirt collar, and she fell. And she got back up. I let her get up to make it a fair fight. She got up. She swung. She hit, and it kind of hurt a little bit. I was like, started like dragging her around again by her hair. And then I was basically just punching her, and like I kicked her. Like, I kicked her in the legs. Like, I kicked her legs when I was dragging her. And, yeah, I was kicking her. What the heck? But I was kicking her when I was dragging her around. And then I dragged her back down the stairs. And meanwhile, the police were trying to get me off of her. And I was like, no. And then, like, I was still dragging her. And then... Tell me what, the police like grabbed me by like my waist to like drag me off of her. They were like grabbing me, and I was like, yeah, okay. And then they were basically like dragging me to get me off of her. And when they were dragging me, they were also dragging her because I was holding on to her. And then I was holding on to her wrist. And in that moment, the girl, she was screaming. She was like, get off me! Get off me! And I was like, girl. And then, yeah. The girl that I was beating up pepper sprayed me. But, like, I've been pepper sprayed a lot of times. So, like, I'm kind of not immune to it. It still stings. But I'm not going to, like, sit there and just cry for a while and sit there and do nothing about it. I beat her up some more. Like, I said, oh, you want to pepper spray me? And then she started backing up a bit because I had let go. Yeah, I let go for a second, but I started getting back up, and I was running after her, bro. She literally started running around the whole school. I was like, okay, I'm still chasing though. But like, tell me why she was running, and then she fell, and then I dragged her by her foot. Like, I was dragging her by her shoes. And then the police finally got onto me, and then we stopped fighting. But yeah, I'm gonna post part 2 on YouTube, and I'm gonna post this one on TikTok. But I'm gonna put both of them on both parts. So I'm gonna put this one on YouTube and TikTok, and part 2 and other parts on